What's up, gamers? Dreamcastguy here, and this is Does It Suck, the show where we take a deep dive look at a new game and see what's good or bad about it. I just finished playing the Final Fantasy Origin demo that's been released on the PlayStation 5, and honestly, there is just so much that is downright wrong about this. Like, straight up, the idea behind this project is clearly to try and combine the classic styles of Final Fantasy and shove them together with a Dark Souls style of combat. Slow, methodical battles with heavy hits, really heavy parries, and very deadly dodges. But the problem is that they've managed to screw up both. This does not manage to evoke the crazy memories or nostalgia or even some of the magic of classic Final Fantasy, despite the fact that it clearly takes place in the world of Final Fantasy 1, and also it doesn't have the sharpness of Dark Souls style battles. They've managed to screw up both aspects of this. Now, there is some positives to this project. I want to talk about this, but I have to begin with the negatives because the thing that really struck me the most during the course of this demo is how ugly everything is. Now, you're going to notice me just kind of stopping and looking at surfaces occasionally during the course of this gameplay because everything was just so shockingly dark. This has some incredibly murky visuals, and I want to make a note here, I turned the brightness up. This is not the darkest that things can go, but for some reason everything is just so muddy and unclear at times. But what really kind of irks me the most as a Final Fantasy fan is how they've managed to take classic designs of some of the most old school Final Fantasy monsters and make them look like trash. Look at this. What we have here is the original Bomb. Now, Bombs, these guys have been in the game from the very, very start. Well, he's supposed to be like a gritty version of it, more realized, more realistic, and yet somehow he just looks so lazy and poorly designed that it almost looks like one of those free assets from when you're trying to build a game design with free textures you found on the internet. They look so bad. But more than that, a lot of people have actually been downvote bombing the original trailer for Final Fantasy Origin, and a major reason for that is because of the very crappy and seemingly lazy design of the characters themselves. These heroes, which all walk together in a pack, these are the Warriors of Light. They're the people that are supposed to save the world from chaos. Well, in the original trailer, they're all just wearing like t-shirts. They're not even wearing like fantasy style clothes. They're just dudes who seemingly have stumbled into the Final Fantasy universe and are now trying to save it, which is, I mean, honestly, a little bit cringe. Well, thankfully, throughout the course of this demo, you do find a lot of gear, like tons and tons of different armor sets, gloves, boots, and a lot of different weapons to choose from, which we're going to get to here in a second. But at least, while you're playing this, dressing your character up, it makes me realize that this is just so uninspired. There's just such a lackluster visual design. The aesthetics, everything just looks so paper thin and unthought out. Like, everything just looks like absolute garbage, which kind of drives me nuts. Every single outfit that you manage to put on, or collectible you pick up, or even sword you pull out of a chest, just looks like the most boring crap ever, which drives me nuts. But let's talk a bit about the battles, now that we realize that this game is not going to be a treat for the eyes. So this game itself is being designed by Team Ninja, the people who made Nioh and Nioh 2, which was already kind of a Dark Souls-inspired samurai game. So this time around, they managed to get the pacing right. It has that like Dark Souls-style speed of circling an opponent, using a lock-on, and trying to get inside their block and cut them to bits. But the problem is that things in here just don't feel balanced properly. Every enemy feels incredibly easy to take down, from typical goblins to even bigger opponents or even optional bosses like this thing here. Everything is just so easy, and it's because of this like energy blocking system where basically there is a parry button that allows you to just deftly knock somebody's hits out of the way, but it's a lot easier to just tap your magic button simultaneously as somebody's trying to attack you, and you absorb a little bit of energy from it. You don't take damage, you can block magic like this, and you can even take some of the biggest and craziest attacks from Chaos himself and absorb it to make yourself stronger. This concept of energy blocking is just so weird because it kind of breaks the game because, well, it's just so easy to do. Like, I was just energy blocking everything and absorbing so much mana from it, and I can do more special attacks by absorbing these hits. I mean, seriously, the way this kind of works is that the harder you're trying to hit me, the more you're unleashing your special attacks, the more I can do my huge attacks right back and instantly eliminate you. Now let's talk a bit about the class system, because this is definitely one of the more unique ideas that I think does work. Like, straight up, this is the one part of the game that I'm the most confident seems to be well designed. So while you're playing it, taking down enemies, if you get somebody to low health, you can basically use your energy button to absorb their soul. And once you have their soul, you can use these to make job points, upgrading specific classes to the way you want. Now think of these as like fighting styles. You can choose to go down a more magic-y path and just pick up different things like water, ice, fire, lightning, and talent points like that. But you can also go more heavy hitter, just getting the biggest sword you could possibly carry and using it to upgrade your strength, your special attacks, the amount of times you can spin while unleashing all your crazy flurries of blows. But you can also unlock hero classes. Now these are called advanced classes, and basically these are much more specialized. They are stronger, but they also feel more just tailored to specific situations. Now what's cool is that you can equip two separate classes at once. You can switch back and forth in the middle of a fight by pressing triangle, so you can actually be like magic based, throw a couple spells, and then if somebody starts coming at you, switch to somebody that has a gigantic broadsword and beat them down, or switch to your halberd and try and just stab a bunch of bats. This actually works pretty well just in general because it feels like different pieces of the same arsenal. The idea that you can just constantly click back and forth from your major weapons and your major skills, it definitely works, especially because I kind of enjoyed that a lot of these talent trees have like these passive abilities, just flat out more damage, more strength. It really makes it so grinding is just more beneficial. It makes it feel like you are actually growing stronger across the board, which I definitely enjoyed. I found myself going to the sides, doing all the little side tunnels and stuff to kill all the monsters, get all the talent points, and of course find every piece of hidden gear. This game, it's very, very conflicting to me because while I do enjoy just sections of the combat, my biggest issue is just definitely the fact that this is supposed to be in the classic Final Fantasy universe. Like the fact that we're actually trying to hunt down Chaos himself and going toe-to-toe with what is obviously Garland, but all of this is just so strange and it seems so very incomplete. Like something that's very weird is that these characters, they don't really have names. They're just like the Warriors of Light. Now obviously they don't have to mention their names, but it's very weird that this main guy is sometimes called Jack, but in the menus he's called Stranger. These two buddies we have don't really talk very much. They're almost mute themselves and they don't really fight. Like they do, they kind of stand there and watch you fight. Occasionally the enemies will also target them. Like there's so many ideas in this game that seem so incredibly half-baked. This is obviously just such an early alpha version of the game itself that currently, I mean, just to be brutally honest, I have no faith in this project. Like as much as I love Team Ninja, as much as I'm completely blown away by the quality of Neo, this is just so strange that I don't know if we're ever going to find paradise in this project. What the heck? Well, have you had a chance to play it? Did you install this PlayStation 5 demo? Does it look like utter garbage to you? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. Oh yeah, this game has difficulty options, so if for some reason you're one of those people that likes Dark Souls but can't take the difficulty, this does have an easy mode. I didn't try it myself, but even normal is actually quite a bit of a cakewalk. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, you know, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.